Hello, thank you for joining us today. I am Ms. Amban Anjeh, and I'm the career specialist assigned to the schools of engineering, architecture and planning, computer science, mathematical and natural sciences under the Center for Career Development, which is part of Morgan's Career Pathways Initiative. Today, I'll be talking to you about resume writing and cover letter writing. Let's begin. At the end of this presentation, anyone who watches this video should be able to produce a resume that describes their education, skills, experiences, and measurable achievements with proper grammar, format, and brevity. You should be able to demonstrate an ability to target the resume to your desired field or position. You should have the ability to complete a professional resume that highlights your skills specific to a career field. You should be able to discover how to identify and best market transferable skills, distill and highlight, develop skills through a review of past experiences, understand how to write accomplishment-based job and skill statements. So, before we get into this, we're going to do the resume portion first before we go to the cover letter portion. When we talk about a resume, one thing you should bear in mind is that a resume is a live document. And by live document, what do I mean? It means it's constantly changing. It changes with every application. That being said, if you have one resume, you can't use one resume to apply for 100 jobs because you're selling yourself short in that way. When we're talking about writing a resume, we've come up with what we call the 3 C's. The 3 C's is very essential in resume writing because it helps you to keep your resume clear, concise, and corresponding. By that, what do I mean? The clarity portion of your resume means you neatly outline everything on your resume. Your resume should be very neat even from a glance. It shouldn't be crowded. The concise portion deals with you highlighting critical aspects of your work to persuade the reader. And of course, the corresponding piece is where you illustrate related skills and that are important to the job opportunity. Now, there are several types of resumes, but we're going to emphasize on 3 types today, which is the chronological, functional, or both. The resume that has to do with both the chronological and functional resume merged together. By chronological resume, what do we mean? It's simple, placing everything on your resume in reverse chronology. What do I mean by reverse chronology? I mean from your most recent to the least. You're going to make use of bullet points, short, concise statements about each job, each work experience, or should I say, your job description needs to be straight to the point. We are going to see more about that in the upcoming slides. Now, when it comes to the functional resume, this type of resume focuses on your skills, abilities, and experiences, but not in the context of specific jobs. Also, headings separate different skills. And the third type of resume, which is a combination of both the chronological and functional types of resume, you're going to have less traditional headings which may be used while maintaining a basic chronological format. Now, this is an example of a chronological and functional resume. Please be mindful that this information can be found on www.morgan/career development. You can have all our handouts under the student section on our webpage. So please visit the page and have an example so you can have these handouts to help you when trying to create a resume for yourself. A resume. Remember, we talked about your resume being sectioned, your resume being clear, concise, and corresponding. This is where the clarity piece comes in, sectioning your resume. I won't spend so much time on this slide simply because I have it broken down in upcoming slides. So please follow along as I break down the resume. Now, with your basic information, your name, contact information is very necessary. It's like you write an examination and you do not put your name on your examination paper. If you don't have your name, there's a probability you can fail that class simply because you didn't put your name. That's why it's highly encouraged that your name must be on your resume. We typically recommend you do it in bold and in a larger font size so your name stands out on your resume. When it comes to the city, state, and zip code, we see a lot of students put your entire physical address. We do not always recommend that simply for safety reasons because now we're doing everything virtually, so we really don't have the on-campus career fairs anymore. But in case we're going back to the physical fairs, you can be on your way. You could be rushing to catch up with the career fair and you lose some of your documents. It can land in the hands of anybody. So for security reasons, we do not recommend that. Besides, employers do not physically mail stuff to us anymore. Also, we've also seen students who do not oh, I'm open to moving anywhere, so I don't need to put my location. We highly discourage that. It's good that you can move to whatever location, wherever you find a job, but it's necessary for an employer to know that from the get-go because not every company sponsors relocation. So you need to be mindful of that. If you're ready to take up on costs for relocation, then sure, you can leave that space empty, but we do not always recommend that. Besides, sometimes companies are looking to hire people within a certain, should I say, vicinity or within a certain area, and so that facilitates them mellowing down the number of applicants or the people applying for certain jobs. The only time you really put a physical address is if you're doing an online application for probably a federal or government job because they'll typically ask for the places that you've lived prior to your current location. So that's typically fine. That leads us now to the phone number and the email address piece. I know a lot of people have the automated voicemail, which is not always recommended simply because it's automated. An employer sometimes would like to hear what you sound like, don't you think? Besides, it's professional. It means you've taken time to create that voice message to introduce yourself and ask the caller to leave a brief message, a contact number, so they can easily get a hold of you. You can easily give them a call back. That's professional. Now, although this example here, we use the Morgan email, but we prefer that students should use a personal professional email. That's Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, simply because after graduation, you may lose access to your Morgan email. And if you lose access to your Morgan email, you can lose access to opportunities, and you wouldn't want that. We know a lot of students say, oh, I use my school email because I check that email all the time. If you're job hunting, you should make a conscious effort to check your personal professional email. And by personal professional email, we mean your first name, your last name. Just something that matches up to your name, that if an employer wants to send you an email, they can easily find you through because your email matches up your name. Of course, your LinkedIn, please put your LinkedIn, especially if you have content. Don't put a link in that doesn't have a picture. That doesn't really sit well. It's not quite professional. So you may want to look through your LinkedIn and build your profile before you make it open to the public. And of course, if you have a website, especially something that is in relation to the opportunity you're applying for, feel free to put that on here. Now, you should know there's no one way of doing a resume. I know we talked about the types of resumes, but within each type of resume, there is no one way of doing a resume. We see a lot of students make use of templates. Be very mindful of templates because some templates don't always sit very well. And Claire always do the blank Word document always does the job because it helps bring out the 3 C's portion that I talked about at the beginning of this presentation. It helps with clarity. It helps your resume be concise and corresponding because it's straight to the point. Now, when it comes to the order in which you use you place your education section. Some people will put their degree first, some will put their school first, whichever you're comfortable with. Just ensure your dates are evenly aligned to the right side of your resume. Now, remember to put your GPA. We recommend a GPA of 3.0 or higher on your resume. If you have a minor, feel free to put that on there, or a concentration. Now, your honors can go in this section, as well as they could go to another section, which can be your awards and honors section. Your study abroad portion, of course, it's very good to put it on here. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the coursework portion. There are perks to this. What do I mean by that? When you put in your coursework information, Morgan has a curriculum. And if an employer is looking for coursework, they're not looking for you to go copy your Morgan curriculum and paste on your resume. That just fills up your resume. When do you put this? For the most part, you put this when an employer specifies on the job description that they're looking for opportunities that for students who have taken XYZ classes. Yes, that makes sense. Or employers, or let's say you are a sophomore taking junior level classes, then you can put that on there, because at that point it means you're not an ordinary sophomore, you're not a typical sophomore, because you're taking classes ahead of your class, which can help you stand out. And of course, if you're taking a specialized course, I'll give you an example. A civil engineering student who has the mindset of, I'm going to create a company, I'm going to own a company in the future. And so I need the business course to help me with that. The student takes up on a minor in the School of Business. That's a great course to put on your coursework here, because it's not typical of your curriculum. Employers don't need to see your introductory courses, because of course, if you're in a certain class, you should have taken certain courses. Now, this brings us to the experience section, and we typically like to use the action. We typically like to use the action. We like to use the action object output formula. And that's simply because it helps in breaking down your experience section. You want to have your job title, the company, the city location, and the date of employment. That is very necessary on your resume. Please make use of the bold and italic features, because that helps you stand out. It helps with the clarity portion of your resume, because we're going to talk about the time frame an employer uses soon. So you want to pay attention to that, because it helps your resume be really neat. Make use of action words to begin your fragments, and strong result-oriented terms when writing your descriptions. Use terminology that reflects the skills and abilities required to the position. Your resume should be in sync with the job description. That's what that simply means. Quantify information, especially when appropriate, as numbers are very significant. Highlight any achievements and recognitions you got from the experience that you're putting on your resume, and be very cautious, mindful of the amount of information you put on, because you want to save some information for the interview. You wouldn't want to put everything on the resume that you have nothing new. And if you're called for an interview, it's like you're reciting your resume. Additional sections for your resume would be computer skills, foreign language skills. It's great to have foreign languages on you, but please don't put, how to speak French if you can't speak French, because you have to indicate your level of fluency. You can't say you speak French and the only thing you know in French is bonjour. That's not speaking French. So please be very mindful. You can have a section for your honors, awards, achievements, publications, professional organizations. Like the foreign languages, please do not put that you're in a certain organization, you're a member of a certain organization where you're not simply because you believe it looks good on your resume. Remember your leadership experience and your licenses or certifications. Key concepts, things to remember. It takes a reader 7 to 15 seconds to review your resume. And what does that mean? It means that brings us again to the very beginning of the resume where we talked about the 3 C's, where your resume should be clear, concise, and corresponding. That being said, that's why we recommend that your resume should be a page, a clear font size, and we typically recommend between 10 to 12 simply because that helps your resume stand out. Now, if you're a master's student and up, or or let's say you have a lot of experience that will help you stand out, it's completely fine for your resume to go over a page, but you want to make sure the key points you want to really express are on the first page. Now, we do say you should omit your high school information except relevant to the position, or if you think that is going to help you sell better, yes, please do put it on your resume. But we recommend that you drop your high school information after your freshman year. Again, the action object output formula. And of course, past experience equals past tense, present experience equals present tense. We do have references on a separate page because writing references presented upon request is an outdated practice. And last but not the least, please proofread your work. Please proofread your work because bad grammar can cause you to lose an opportunity. So please review your work. Proofread your work. These are some of the online resources we do use for resume reviews. We do have Upkey that can help you create a top-notch resume, build a personalized elevator pitch that sounds confident and smooth. We do have Fast Track, and we have Resume Worded, and a ton of other online tools. This leads us now to the cover letter portion. A cover letter, some people will be, I wouldn't want to say a cover letter is you just stress. It's like you talking more about your resume. It's you elaborating certain key aspects according to the job that match up to the, or should I say that are in sync with the job description. So you have to be careful. Like a resume that is a live document, I would say a cover letter is a live document because it's constantly changing based on the job you're applying for. So on the cover letter, you're going to introduce yourself to the employer and explain why you're writing, elaborate or highlight related experiences on your resume, and of course, demonstrate your writing ability. So the key points to a cover letter is the first point, you stating the reason for your letter. You have to ensure you name the specific position you are applying for, because that shows that you are not just, you don't have a general cover letter. And of course, you indicate the resource you found the job description on. If you found the job description on just any job website, maybe you didn't take time to do your research on the company to actually visit the company page. The second point I would like to highlight is why you indicate why you are interested in the position and the company. You highlight what you can do for the employer. Yes, that is very necessary. You also talk about your qualifications, your academic qualifications, and how you qualify. What makes you qualify for this position other than the other things? Your academics is a huge part for most jobs. And of course, you point out your specific achievements or unique qualifications. Thirdly, you mentioned that your resume is enclosed for their review. I mean, now we don't mail resumes anymore. Everything is done online, so we could leave that piece out. But that is a very necessary, it's very necessary to talk about your resume. I mean, that's unless if the employer says, okay, put your resume and cover letter together, fine. If not, jobs now give you the option of putting everything separately, uploading a resume. So that's not quite necessary. Always close by asking for an opportunity to set up an interview, because that shows that you really want this opportunity. You should include your phone number and or email address, again, for easy reference by the employer. And of course, you thank the reader for his or her time and attention. Don't forget to sign at the bottom with your name and your signature. This is an example. Excuse me. This is an example of what a cover letter will look like. This handout can be found on Morgan's Center for Career Development page. Again, it's www.morgan.edu/career development. If you search handouts, you should be able to find this example sheet. That brings me to the end of my presentation on resume writing and cover letter writing. I'll give you a brief review of our services, which is career counseling or advising, career assessment, document reviews, mock interviews, on-campus recruitment, internship and job search assistance, career fairs, employer information sessions, and special events, online resources, which is some you got the chance to see some in the previous slides, and of course the career closet. But as we all know, with the COVID-19, we can't have the career closet because we are working remotely. These are my co-workers and the assigned schools, and of course myself with the schools that we work with. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions about this presentation or any of the services we offer, as mentioned in the previous slide. We are very happy to work with you. Feel free to schedule an appointment. Please do this by email now, because again, we are working remotely and we may not really have access to to our office phones. Visit us online. These are our web pages, and it was a pleasure talking to you. I hope this resume, you were able to learn a thing or two, and hopefully you're going to build your resume thanks to this presentation. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.